So this is something new we're going to be doing at Yellow Brick Cinema. This is going to be our weekly podcast series where we talk about different topics among sleep, relaxation, along with talking with top health professionals, musicians, and much more. You get a behind-the-scenes look of how Yellow Brick Cinema operates, not only to get to know our music, the musicians who make it, but the personalities that bring it all together. My name is Evan, and today I'm joined by Sean and Jason, which Jason filmed this entire background scenery of this video. So without further ado, what has 6 million subscribers taught us about relaxation?
I mean, I can tell you what it's taught us behind the scenes with relaxation. Namely, wow. I think it would be a scene from the Poseidon adventure if they really got to see, it's okay. It's been a dozen years. Are everyone's chakras aligned yet? It's hard work. It's very rewarding. It's very, very rewarding because we know we're actually doing something that helps people. But there is a lot that goes into it, and I don't think people realize necessarily how much, because as far as I know, unless you guys have seen differently, within this niche, I don't think anyone else has tried a podcast like this where you actually talk about how to make a wellness music video on YouTube.
Yeah, this is the first I've seen of this kind of podcast. I mean, it's very interesting because YBC's been around for about 10 years or so now, 10, 11 years. And we see the most common age group is it's 18 to 25 is a majority of the age group, but then you have 25 to 34, which is, since we've been around for 11 years, 10, 11 years, it's crazy to see that the majority of age group is in their mid-20s that are listening to relaxation type music. You would think it's much older than the standard demographic but it's different than what we perceive.
Well, and this touches on another interesting point that gets back to the origins of the channel, which is, like Jason said, this channel has been around for a long time. And like a lot of channels of this size that have been around on YouTube for a while, they were started almost by accident, as in, someone just doing something that they thought was interesting and putting a lot of passion into it, being very consistent, and then you find an audience. The really interesting thing about relaxing music is that we as creators, this is the kind of music we listen to relax. And the fact that over time, more and more and more and more people have gravitated to it is both very rewarding and also just very connecting. We feel deeply connected with all these people. And I think the same is true of really any channel from this era that's grown to millions and millions of subscribers, whether it's music or something else, is there's this deep rooted authenticity thing about age groups. And one of the observations that comes to mind is that we have a whole new generation of listeners listening now who wouldn't have even been on YouTube when the channel was first created. And this is thrilling. This is something that makes us thrilled to log on every day and work. And it also instills in us a very serious sense of responsibility. So we gotta keep doing a good job. And so we've got all our legacy listeners who've been with us seemingly forever. Over 10 years on YouTube feels like forever. And then all these people who are listening either for study, focus, relaxation, and this younger generation that's listening is a digital native generation. So it's interesting that they've found relaxing music among all the other tools available to help with relaxation, wellness, mental health, all the above.
I think what's crazy is this is kind of a unique challenge on YouTube in that we're working in a genre that rewards you for being deliberately boring. Like that's a whole different set of challenges. Like, our goal is to put people to sleep. That's the antithesis of what you typically want to do in any sort of entertainment product. And so it's quite a learning curve. It's actually really interesting when you get into it. Like, what frequencies work, and music that you think would work great for studying is not the same as what you would use for someone going to sleep. Like, it's actually really, really, you get into it, it's quite a Gordian knot. And I dare say we're pretty good at it because we've done it for this long. But the other interesting factor is generational change. I mean, for our audience, as Evan mentioned, you've got some millennials, you've got some Gen Z, and that's interesting because, like, I'm Gen X, so some of the stuff that might work for me might not necessarily work for someone who's a bit younger, and you have to factor this in. So there is method to the madness. It's surprisingly detailed to get this right.
Yeah, it's definitely changed over the years. YBC started off with just slideshow videos, and that tailored to an audience for years and years. And then we've seen a shift to a new AI boom where AI started to become into relaxation music. People started to create new style videos, and we had to follow suit just to keep up with the trends. And we find that now that's being an overcrowded category on YouTube. And so now we're trying to pull back a little bit of that AI and put more of this authenticity into our streams, into our videos, into our production. And so people can feel more connected with how they see relaxation or hear relaxation, but also see it as well. It's not something that's fabricated. It's something that's authentic from different parts of the world that we all live in, which is pretty interesting. I'm here in Thailand. Jason's in Scotland. We got Sean in LA. There's other people on our team that's from South Africa. So we have very diverse group of people from a diverse different cultures and different cities and different continents. So it's very interesting to see.
Yeah, here's an interesting question for you guys, because this is something that we talk about behind the curtain, and I think it's kind of fun for the audience to get a peek at this. What's been the biggest, like, surprise video Yellow Brick Cinema's done? Like, for those of you who have never created content on YouTube, you might pour your heart and soul into something, and then you release it, and like 2 people see it. Then you do something completely different, and it just blows up, and you're like, why did this blow up? And then you're thinking about it like 4 a.m. So I'm curious, like, is it the bamboo water spouts? Is it the moon over the ocean? Is it dolphins? Is it, like, what's been the big surprises that you guys have seen?
Well, I'll tell you, it's funny you mentioned bamboo water spouts and dolphins and really obviously relaxing visuals coupled with music. And so rewinding, every track we compose that's on the channel is very intentional, both as an art and then also from what we've learned about the genre, how to use music to help people unwind. Okay, but then we talk about the visuals. And my favorite video on the channel is one of the biggest, which is the Study Alpha Waves video. So this is a very relaxing track that is coupled with great relaxing visuals. But the thumbnail is this really interesting face that's blue, and it's looking at the audience. It's a really striking thumbnail. So this is one of the biggest videos we've ever done, and it's interesting that it's not the traditional relaxing scenery, nature, green. I would say it's very interesting, right? It really draws the eye, but I don't think anyone thought that would be the one that really takes off. Now, it's taken off to such an extent that there are people who have used this video for various purposes over the course of years and years and years. So, like, if you look at the comments, you can see multiple generations of people interacting almost like a chat. But it's people studying now. And then there are people commenting on those comments who had been studying to that music 7 years ago, who have now graduated and started their careers. And it's all connected to that video. It's got its own community around it. And it's what we're talking about, right? Where it just comes from the heart, and what felt authentic at the time, put it out there, and people love it.
Yeah, I find it's pretty interesting because I do find that some of our legacy videos are still some of our biggest performers, but also that's funny is sometimes a little hidden secret here at YBC. What we've done is there's been times where we made memes kind of out of the thumbnails. You see the bamboo water spout. So we're just like, let's add another bamboo water spout. Let's add a dolphin. Let's add over a sunset. And ironically enough, that video is the one that performs better than the rest of them. So it's kind of funny. You just never know what's going to work. And we just do it as fun as like, we sometimes joke around and have little inside jokes. People sometimes get it, but we like to, have a little fun with some of our videos sometimes. But that's one that just came up in mind it was just so ironic how well it did. And it was just a joke thumbnail to begin with. So those are the fun videos as well. But also our legacy ones are still surprising that they were produced years ago, 5-10 years ago, and they're still performing pound after pound. It's crazy the consistency of views they still get on YouTube.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a sec, because that consistency I think is super important, because YouTube, we've all been doing YouTube for a while now, so we've seen how the landscape has changed. And I think it's worth touching on, a lot of the recent updates from YouTube have all been like authenticity, like we want authenticity. And this genre that we're in has a unique challenge. We're basically a faceless public utility. So, let's talk about this for a sec. Like, how do we reach not only our own audience, but everyone else out there, when a lot of the things that you would normally do with a YouTube channel, you wouldn't necessarily do with a relaxing music channel, because it serves a very specific function. I'll wager, by the way, this section will be one of the most repeated sections.
Yeah, and it really speaks to how the past few years, I would say the conventional wisdom around YouTube, say 5 years ago, was you want to be as attention getting as you can get, and you want to retain viewers with very rapid pace or outlandishness or dangling very attention getting concepts over the course of videos. And we do the exact opposite of that, right? I think you put it really well, where sometimes our goal is to put people to sleep. Other times our goal is to help people focus on whatever it is they're doing. So whether it's studying or working on something, writing something, really deep focused work. So how do we grow to this extent without doing a lot of that, the conventional attention getting YouTube type things? And I think the answer to that is really in how the platform has changed over the past couple of years, which is what you said. It's targeting authenticity. It's really seeking to bring out of users what they actually want to put forth into the world. There's clearly there's like 2000s era YouTube, first half of 2010s era, second half of 2010s, when things start to get really polished and grandiose and fast. And then now, when you say YouTube, trying to prioritize authentic content over things that are either overproduced or AI generated. Come back to us. And what are we? Well, all our music is made, by someone who either we know or has worked at the channel. So these are real composers doing real music that really jumps out at them, unprompted a lot of the time, as in everybody is a musician interested in this field, actually interested in relaxing music. And we like to nerd out over how different effects or audio patterns can help with different brain and health outcomes or attention or mood, that kind of thing. This is actually our favorite thing to talk about when we all get together. And then we've definitely experimented with AI animation as a tool off of still images, but a lot of what you see on the channel is they're real videos. sometimes there are videos that we took that we thought would work well with a certain track. And I think that the way you really shine as an evergreen channel on this platform is you do what jumps out at you. Where you can definitely pick up a frenetic pace or develop some of the affectations of the late 2010s era grandiose YouTube, but that's never what we were. And to an extent that it's actually kind of funny to think about. Traditional or what jumps out as attention-getting YouTube content on a relaxation channel. So just by sticking to why this channel exists in the first place, it's how we remain distinct, but it's also what we want to bring to the audience. It's like what we can add to what's already on this awesome platform to the audience.
I would love to see like the Mr. Beast treatment applied to like one Yellow Brick Cinema video.
Or it's like you can stay asleep the longest. Who can focus the longest or something. Yeah. So more power to. Listen, there's so many great people who've helped build the YouTube platform. And actually that is something we should shine a spotlight on. Which is when Yellow Brick Cinema to the audience. 2013 to the audience was it's funny to think about. To me at the time, YouTube was pretty incumbent, but I was also one of YouTube's early users. YouTube was still in a pretty serious growth curve, and there were a lot of people watching television. Spotify wasn't a sure thing yet. There was a decent chance. Radio viewership was still really high, or radio listenership was still really high. So if someone wanted relaxing music to the audience, there was a reasonable chance they would to the audience. But I'm going to date myself here. They might even throw in a CD, right? And if their car was like 5-10 years old, they might. Right. My last car that had a CD player, right, was from 2011. Right. Okay. Right. And it was. I don't think cars. I haven't bought a car with a CD player years since then.
I have a car that has.
And so it's interesting. Taste though, right? That's different. If you have a car with a cassette tape player, that means it's a pretty nice car. That means you have that car on purpose. And so you say, well, starting a YouTube channel in 2013 was still something people would do pretty much only because they loved it. Well, there were some exceptions, but like everybody from that era they were not guaranteed success. The partner program was relatively new. There weren't these obvious success stories where you say, I want to start some kind of sophisticated media operation, and YouTube makes the most sense to do that on. It was the exact opposite. It was, you're starting a YouTube channel, right? Which, as someone who's under 20 today, it's the equivalent of starting a television channel at the time. Where YouTube has a very different connotation now because it's got so big. So, anyways, you look at the time, and you're like, there are all these different creators and styles and types of videos that helped make this platform so big. And obviously, Mr. Beast was one of them. But to us, Mr. Beast was on the later side. And there were a lot of unsung heroes from the late 2000s and 2010s, some of whom have retired. But they've really built the YouTube, a lot of the current audience knows it's competitive with what some of us would remember as cable television, premium television, broadcast television, radio, nascent Spotify, all rolled into one. Right.
Kids, if you don't know what a CD player is, ask your mom and dad.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty interesting that how things have changed over the years. I mean, like Sean was saying, the format, how, back in the day, it was about vlog styles. Then it started to go into, and Mr. Beast came along, and it had kind of challenges, and now there are these crazy challenges people have to do, and now the crazy thumbnails. Now the AI revolution has taken over, where now everyone's got the perfect thumbnail, and I think that's where things kind of start to change, and it's where everything starts to look so good that the imperfect thumbnails seem to do better. The more long format videos, the more real format of people, that's where it becomes to shine. And I think that's going to be that's the new format I see of YouTube, and that's perfect for relaxation. I mean, I think that's what we should bring people. That's what we are going to bring people, and it's more of the authenticity. I mean, the AI revolution is great, but I see that, if we bring authentic content where people can see real cities, real people, real life, everything, they'll feel more real themselves. And I think that's a great connection to have. And I think that's where YouTube is headed. That's why I think the Outdoor Boys, they were called, that's why that channel was so big. It blew up so big because it was authentic. It was real. It was just the guy and his camera, and it just became, outgrown him. And I think that's what YouTube is really about.
Does anyone remember when going online was an escape from reality? Now it seems like it's the other way around.
Yeah, it was that you would go online to supplement reality. So you would really fast access to information, really, really like low latency. So instead of going somewhere to get information, you go online and get it. This is going to be interesting demographically, the age demos with our listeners here, because there are going to be some listeners who remember the music used to be hard to get. As in, you and your friends would talk about music, and built into preference would be scarcity. In other words, you might have discovered a great relaxing music album. And we actually know a lot of these relaxing music artists, meditation music artists. These are our friends. These are just personal friends going back years and years. They have the most remarkable stories about when they were selling their albums at music stores, as in stores that sold music CDs. And then Amazon got really into music CDs. But there was this concept of discovery of music either by going to a physical store or talking to your friends. And one person might say, I got this great new rock and roll album, and there's a rap album, this hip hop album. Another person might say, I was having trouble sleeping and I was listening to so-and-so. Okay. And actually the foremost sleep music artist in the entire world, the guy who pioneered the genre, is a friend of ours. So this would be something you shared among your friends. And then the internet was there to help you follow up on that or spread that information very quickly. And now it really feels like the internet has taken a role in making reality. So what happens on TikTok and YouTube and X and so forth is reality. And a lot of what we do in physical space is react and respond to these developments that get shipped really quickly, major scale across the entire world. And it's changed this gets back to the concept of what we owe an audience of over 6 million people. It changes the role of what it means to be able to distribute content rapidly at scale. Like when years and years ago on the channel, when we either release a video or put up a live stream, it's kind of like, hey, here's what we're feeling. Hope this plugs in really well to your day. If you like it, we'll be doing more of this tomorrow, that kind of thing. Whereas now, years later, this and other things like it are basically the fabric of people's day. And the odds are that they work in some role, or that they're studying some subject that touches the internet. So the internet's really foundational content is really foundational in what people are thinking and feeling. I'll put it to you like this. It's not that something about your life stresses you out, and so you go on the internet to listen to some relaxing music. It's probably that something on the internet is stressing you out. And so then you go deeper into the internet and the YouTube platform, and you use Yellow Brick Cinema to help you go to sleep or help you relax or help you shift gears and focus on what you need to be focused on. And I think this is something we take very seriously, right? So this is why we have these conversations. But we've grown up with the channel as the channel has grown up, as the internet has grown up, all with our audience.
Let's talk about scarcity for a sec. So AI music is here now, and yeah, like Guns N' Roses, one of the biggest touring acts on the planet, their entire discography is, I think, like 6 albums over, 40 plus years. Whereas, there's AI bands that press a button. And then, like, when it comes to our genre, what do you guys think? I can hear a difference between AI music and human composed music in this genre, like relaxing music, music for sleep. Like, it's not that AI music is necessarily bad. It's just there is that handcrafted element, as far as I'm concerned, to human music that just makes it way more effective. At least that's my take on it.
Yeah, I definitely see that. Right now, I see that the AI composed music, you can definitely see that there's repetitiveness. There's little nuances that, the instruments don't sound right. It doesn't flow quite perfectly. Obviously, over time, sure, AI music might be the new meta. But right now, what we've seen, what we've heard, it just doesn't hit the same as a human composed artist. And I've noticed that, and people have mentioned it in the comments as well. And we also look at other channels and see, and then we also hear other channels, and you could sometimes tell that some are, in fact, AI composed. But yeah, it is interesting. In the foreseeable future, who knows how that might shift. But right now, I do definitely see that there is a difference difference between AI and human composed.
Well, and even if we zoom out and we say, we catch ourselves saying human composed music. Who would have seen this coming 10 years ago? How, and the answer is, well, all of us, right? Because we're all using computer systems. We're all of the digital music generation. We're not, as in like, we've all been in big music studios. So some of the most classic, like I've been in the studio where Van Halen was recording albums in the 70s in Los Angeles. Really just classic places before Pro Tools existed, before various digital packages existed. When guys would be sitting around trying to get a specific sound out of a guitar using a combination of electronics on a board, but also, like magnets in the room or messing with the coils in your pickups. So we're not as OG as that, but we are OG of a vintage where it was humans making the music. And you get like you throw a beat in there or something like that, but there wasn't this distinction that is now staring everyone in the face, which is AI composed music, and we can break down what that is, and then human composed music, and it being a choice. It was always like you go from multiple track recording to, okay, we can throw in a demo beat. Okay. And these are all leaps of orders of magnitude in the capability to record music, to produce music. Okay, you can run a demo beat. Okay, you can mimic instruments. So you can make a guitar sound like a keyboard, and you can make a keyboard sound like a guitar. And it's really about what you, the artist or the producer, want to create for the audience, and then what you're best at instrumentally to make that creation with. But now we're at least on the precipice of fully generative music. So, and we know this because we don't do any of this, but we know a lot of the people in the field, and people come and say, well, will you invest in this startup that's doing such and such, or will you help us with this, or collaborate? And again, we're at least we fancy ourselves old school musicians, even though I said we're not like analog OG. We all come from at least some kind of human musical background, because we're humans and we make music. And it's very interesting to live at a time where that's a coin flip, and where it could truly become easier to just outsource a lot of background music, production music, and so forth to these generative workflows. Now, as you guys say, we're not there yet. And this has been tried and it's failed a few times. The real question is, well, what happens when it works enough to commoditize certain genres of music? And I don't know. I'm not there yet. Maybe I'm old-fashioned, but I can tell the difference. And I also really enjoy. I would never do that because I just enjoy making the music. Right, that's part of how we express ourselves.
100%. And I think I want to kind of make it clear that we're not against AI. I think we use it as a tool for efficiency for things, whether it's spreadsheets or other stuff. But I think there needs to be human touch to certain things. I think we got to separate the AI versus the human touch, and human composed music is one of them. Watching visuals, maybe people watching down the street. Maybe we'll do a people watching video, who knows? And people love just sitting there and watching real humans doing real things. It's interesting versus a fabricated world. So we're not against it, but we want to keep the two separated where we can. And the future is interesting. The future is going to be wild, but maybe, who knows? Maybe we will merge into that category. But right now we want to stay as authentic as possible with the music and the visuals. Moving forward, I think that's very important, not only in the YouTube landscape, but also to look back at different times. It's almost like a timestamp, and I think it'll be really important to have that timestamp on YouTube.
It's a good way to put it, and I know this from a standpoint of instruments, producing music, musicianship. I'm still one of those people who likes tube amplifiers, right? Electric guitar, tube amplifiers. And I think I can tell the difference if you standardize the equipment. I'm one of those guys who thinks he can tell the difference between certain eras of Gibson Les Paul guitars. I can definitely tell the difference between different windings, pickups. And I know, and now maybe this is all in my head. I don't know. I play different music for other people, and they might not feel the warmth of a humbucker pickup. But that paradigm is soon going to extend to human or AI generated music, and that is wild to me. So if you came to me and you say, "Well, we've got a really good transistor amp, and it's so much easier to use than a tube amp. It's not as fragile. It's lighter. Don't you just want this transistor amp?" Or boards is another one. Board. Older than I am. And then people come up, they bring a new board, they'll plug it in my laptop and in the studio and everything. And you say, wow, that sound is great. That sound is fantastic. It's not as fun for me, but it's really great. Good job. It's very effective. That's going to extend to human, maybe. That could extend to human or AI generated music. And that's where we fall definitely into the camp of the humans, please. Love AI for spreadsheets, for reducing redundant paperwork. When you run a channel and you're dealing with music publishing and stuff, there's a lot of paperwork, that kind of thing. So these are very useful tools to free us up to do things like make art. But when the AI systems are generating the art, it's a different story, and then it's way zoomed out past tube or transistor amplifiers. and now you're looking at, well, who made this and what is it for? And that's something that we really enjoy is every single track on our channel, every video was made by one of us for maybe just ourselves, but as the channel grew, hundreds of thousands and then millions of listeners. So it comes from us with a lot of love and with purpose and care, and we hope that comes across so that listeners know, hey, someone made this for me. Whoever you are listening right now, someone made this for you. And it starts to get a little scary when that becomes a question, or if you project way out into the future, a certainty that no one made this. Can you imagine as a viewer or a listener consuming art that you're pretty sure no one made, and it's not expressing anything?
You touched on it's a kind of a little off-topic point, but how you say how something's made specifically for someone. People sometimes leave comments in our videos and saying, I want this style of video, and we go out and make them. We actually listen, we watch, we see the chats, we respond to the chats. We want to take your suggestions and make the videos come to life. So if you see a video or want a video done in a certain style, we will make it. I mean, we have nothing to lose. We want to, please everyone. We want to make sure that everyone gets a variety of different style videos. And so we go out there and just make it.
The one thing that we can do that AI cannot do, and I would actually love to see this, we can go on tour. Pillow Fest 2025. Bring a friend, go to sleep. It would be the most epic thing ever, a touring act where everyone falls asleep. We can do that. I'm not saying we should, but we could. AI, on the other hand, not so easy.
The biggest sleeping party of 2025.
Well, and again, we highlight on purpose. It's not like a stand-up comedy set that'll put you to sleep. This is music designed for this purpose. But I think that's something really special. There are, it's kind of like being at a big event where there's a DJ and you go up and you ask him, will you play this song? Or you get on the playlist at a radio station, or like in the early days of iTunes Radio, people with radio channels shipping content. So there's just way more radio stations. Discovery of music, or getting to know the people behind the scenes, and again, accessing that kind of expression of, hey, this is what I like, or this is what's challenging my tastes, or this is what I could really use right now. Music to unwind, of course, our specialty, but then feeling heard and trusting that another person, maybe someone or maybe someone behind the curtain, like our channel, is saying, okay, we hear you, here you go. Right, this is for you. We've now made that connection, even if it's mediated across the YouTube platform, or across Spotify or something. But you have connected with this other person who acknowledges you.
100%. And so if you guys leave a comment, if you say, I want Jason to create the most death metal sleep track possible, he will do it. we really do take suggestions, and we really do make the videos that people suggest. It's like that song, See You Again, because most of the time they probably never even noticed that track was made for them, but it's out there though, but we do make these tracks. So it's pretty funny.
I got a question for people who are listening to this specific episode, and put your responses in the comments, please. One thing that I think we've all seen is a search traffic increase for meditation music. It's kind of a new trend. I mean, it's always been very popular with our channel, but it's upticking like very recently. So what are you guys looking for? I mean, we're in our live streams reading comments and interacting with people, but some of our audience, they just watch like the super mega long, videos that aren't live. And we just want to get feedback. What are you guys looking for with meditation? Because we can probably film it, provide that musical style, et cetera, et cetera. Pans, got them. Tibetan music, sure. Flutes, absolutely. Certain number of beats per minute, okay, not a worry. Like, you tell us. Now, if you want wind chimes and dolphins squeaking, we can do it.
And also location-wise, I mean, we're on all different sides of the continent. So if you like beaches, we can go to a beach. Oh, you know, I'm in Thailand, located near plenty of beaches. We're all actually near all beaches. If you like deserts, if you like everything, we can create that style of video. And you get to see it real time. You get to see what the city's like, maybe the culture's like. You get to explore in real time. It's almost like a walking tour, but with relaxation music. So you still get that authentic, vibe. It's not interrupted by loud noises, car horns, but you get to watch visuals alongside relaxing music, which ultimately might even calm you even more.
Silence is brought to you by Yellow Brick Cinema.
Insert ad.
I think have we done that? We've definitely done black screen. I don't think we've ever done silence. Not that idea.
Let's do it. We should.
It's like the freeze challenge back in like 2017 where everyone just pauses and they're like, oh wait, is my screen broken?
That's cool. It gets back to the way the internet is making reality now, instead of just augmenting reality, where everyone knows they're so plugged in, they're so connected. A lot of devices don't even turn off. So it wouldn't be so outside the box to say this video is 8 hours of silence, because then you're not unplugged. You're still plugged into this thing that everyone else is plugged into, but it's intentional silence.
It would actually probably work.
Yeah. 8 hours of black screen silence.
And it's the ones that we don't expect to work always do work. So expect the unexpected. But yeah, I mean, so basically, just sum it up. I mean, we're going to have these discussions every kind of week. We're going to change the topics. We're going to talk to different people. We're going to have other people of the team on here. They have different experiences. And so we're just every week, we're going to come on here and talk about, different topics, especially about our channel, the future of music, health related, sleep, everything in the relaxation category. So if you have a question, or if you like anything, or if you have maybe something you disagree with, just leave it in the comments and we'll be sure to comment and respond to it. And maybe we'll bring it up in next week's conversation. Any last words from Sean or Jason?
What should we go out on? What's something we should we go out on? This is the first one. Should we go out on what our favorite kind? What music relaxes us the most individually? It could be to go to sleep, or it could be to unwind.
I mean, I was thinking more of like a champagne bottle pop, but as the first one. But from my experience, I mean, I usually just put on, sometimes I do listen to the old music. Obviously, I listen to a variety of music. I can't just be 100% and be like, 100. But I listen to our music. It depends on what type of night I am. If I'm trying to go to sleep, it's easy to put on one of our tracks, 12 hours, just kind of just doze off and just sleep to it. But I find that what relaxes me most is, since I have severe ADHD and I can't focus on anything, I like stuff that really confuses my brain. And so usually musical instruments that are subtle, that are in the background, that works for me. Just put it on a long track, 8 to 12 hours, and I forget that it's even on, and then I just go right to sleep. And it's nice background music too. It doesn't feel like awkward silence.
And I'd say if I'm going to relax and unwind, my first go-to, Norwegian death metal. But beside that, it depends on the use case. Like if it's early in the evening and I just want to chill with like a glass of wine or something, I'll choose a relaxing music track that has some very clear instrumentation and a fairly clear melody line. If I am deliberately trying to get to sleep, for me, I want something that has fairly minimalist instrumentation and more of a droning style track. I found that's more effective for me to actually not only get to sleep, but actually stay asleep. Because oftentimes you'll see video titles, get to sleep super fast. Yeah, that's great. But for anything like the way my brain is wired, you go to sleep for a very short span of time, and then you're staring at the ceiling again an hour later. So it's about staying asleep and engineering music that can actually do that, which is, well, it's something that Yellow Brick Cinema is legitimately good at.
And we've been doing it for so long. So we know what puts us to sleep. We know what relaxes us. Even sometimes we fall asleep even making the videos. So we know a little bit about relaxation.
That's what happens when you're that's what happens when you're shipping a lot of videos is no, but I'll tell you, so you guys already know the answer to my question, because everyone knows my favorite relaxing track in our catalog, because I convince everybody to play it all the time. But I'll tell everybody a secret. I haven't told you guys this, and I'll tell everybody listening this, that the nature sounds are actually okay. So here's what I do. Here's if you want to fall asleep, here's how to use nature sounds. Here's how I use nature sounds. I do this a lot. I do it with the screen off, so I have the audio running, and by this point I've turned the screen off. Track's playing. I focus on the nature sounds. I don't focus on the music. So the music, the chord progressions are in there, and you guys know I like those very melodic chord progressions. So like droning by way of melodic chord progressions, and everyone listening probably can hear that in the way I talk about guitar music. So you don't focus on the melody. You focus on the nature sounds. And the nature sounds keep me glued to. It's the equivalent of counting sheep, right? That's what I actually drift off to, and the melody is there in the background, and it becomes soothing. If I do the opposite and I focus on the melody, then my mind is trying to predict what I would do next, or how I would harmonize that on a guitar. So how would I drop a lead riff on a Yellow Brick Cinema track? And if you're laughing, don't, because it's possible, because I do this. I'm sitting with one of my guitars right here. So instead I focus on the nature sounds. Birds, running water, boom. Wake up, and I'm like, what happened? It's the next day.
We still haven't determined if Sean is AI or not, so we're still working on that. But we're tweaking it out a little bit.
That would be the ultimate. That would be the ultimate principle. Like by the time the AI is talking about collecting tube amps, it's over.
Yeah.
That's how you know. That's what, if we were going to go back and remake Terminator, he wouldn't be going around being really violent. He would be going around saying, he wouldn't say, "I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle." He would say, "I need your Marshall tube amplifier," and your 65 Jag Stang, which is a guitar, and he would be very picky about pedals and input output chords. But he would probably know how to riff, so he'd be cool.
Yeah, I need your kick and your floor tom quadruplets. I need your data copa.
He would shift over to drill. I'll give you another one, and then I promise, then we can go. But with like old instruments like that are all older than all of us, I feel like instruments peaked before any of us were born. But the technology didn't. And on Yellow Brick, you hear a lot of really soothing chord changes, but also a lot of octave work. And so, what do you do if you've got a guitar from the 60s or the early 70s or God forbid the 50s, and you say, "Oh, I want to be able to move octaves, so I'm going to put a floating tremolo, like a Floyd Rose tremolo in it." do I drill? And I know the answer because we know some rather prominent musicians who pioneered the use of these trems, who said, whatever, I have like 5 of these Les Pauls from the 60s, so I'll go ahead and drill one and put it in. I wouldn't do that. Spoiler alert, I have no Les Pauls from the 60s. And if I did, I certainly wouldn't drill one. But all of these thoughts and techniques and so forth go into every track that you're hearing. So, I guess that means I'm not AI.
To be determined.
Yeah, TBD. Yeah.
All right, perfect. Well, any last words from anyone?
Go to bed.
All right. Sounds
Yeah,
good.
go. Take a deep breath. Go to sleep. And we'll be doing more of these. You can tell we have fun. You can tell we have fun just in our day-to-day on the channel. And since we are a music channel, we don't get the opportunity to convey that fun, to share that sense of fun along. So this is as much fun for us as it hopefully is to listen to it.
Thank you guys both for joining this. And every week we're going to have a new podcast, quote unquote, and we'll have new topics, new people on, and we'll be talking about everything. Leave a comment if you want us to talk about something in particular, and we'd be happy to address it.
Excellent. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thanks, guys.